I am here. I am with Susanna and Josiah. They're located down in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm so happy to have them on with us today. I'm going to let them, tell their story, and really, they're one of those families who, about a month ago, we had the scenario where we were raising money and trying to help people who were in the hurricane devastated places, such as Asheville, North Carolina, such as Florida. Both of those hurricanes that came through, and your generosity as a community really helped us in terms of helping them. So, Susanna, Josiah, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing your story with us. But if you could just talk to us about that time, and what, give us a firsthand experience if you could, and if it's not too much, of what was happening where you were, and then the fallout from the storms going through.
Okay. So the I'll do the leading up to the hurricane. So
Yeah.
the Wednesday before the hurricane, our area was inundated with rain on that Wednesday, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. There was a separate storm that kind of came and sat over us for about 24 hours. So the ground was already saturated. We already had a lot of flash flooding, a lot of rain. Yeah, he's gonna go get the dog.
That's fine.
And then the hurricane hit on Friday, and that's when the hurricane, hit our area on Friday. And so after the grounds were saturated, we started getting the winds, we started getting the heavier rain, and so Friday morning we got up and had no power. Our basement was flooding. Josiah's bedroom's in the basement. He came upstairs and he said, "There's water in the basement." So we got to work. We got our generator going, and just started sucking. That's what our generator did. It powered our shop vac so we could get the water out
Yeah.
of the basement. And then so we worked on that all day, most of the day on Friday, and getting settled. And then cell phone service went out. And so since we lost communication, we didn't know what it was like outside of our land and our property. We had no clue. As you would drive down the road, you'd see something, it'd look fine. You drive down the next road and it'd look like a war zone had hit just because of the trees, the power lines. And then, we were isolated. So on Saturday morning, plus people weren't prepared. We weren't prepared. We didn't know. None of our vehicles had above a quarter tank of gas in them. I mean, we just thought, oh, it's just we'll be fine. There might be some trees down and we'll be fine. Asheville was practically isolated.
Mhm.
All the major interstates were shut down because of road slides, roads being washed out, 40 east, 40 west, going up into Tennessee on 26, going south and, going down into South Carolina on 26, had a mudslide. So that's when we realized that Asheville was practically isolated. The other big thing that I don't know if a lot of people realize that happened in Asheville, our grocery store is Ingalls Corporation. They're in several states along the southeast, but their main warehouse and office flooded, washed out, gone.
Mhm.
And so all the food that they had that they were supplying their stores with was lost.
What's going on?
They were able to load up a lot of tractor trailers and get them into parking lots, to store parking lots in preparation for the storm. But I don't think they imagined it would be
Yeah.
as nobody imagined it would be as bad as it was. So then our goal on Sunday at our church, because my husband's the youth minister at our church, Biltmore Church of Christ, where everybody's been sending the gluten-free stuff to us. We got together and we split our church up, and we decided we were going to go check on church members. And so on Sunday we got out and started checking on church members. Well, we gave away all that we had gotten in Johnson City. By then we realized that people were needing stuff. We had given out all the water we had, because at that point, the water system, some people in the water system had water, but some people in Asheville did not. And so it was kind of hard to know what the water system was like. And then on Monday, Josiah looked at me and he says, "Mom, I'm running out of food." And I went, "Oh, I haven't even thought about you and gluten-free food. I don't even know. Did we buy? I don't even think we bought anything when we went into Johnson City for him particularly." And then I think it was probably that Friday I saw the post from your organization
Mhm.
said, "We're getting us to Boone, North Carolina." And I think I commented on, said, "What about Asheville?" So,
Mhm.
because at that point, I think we might have had one grocery store open. There was no water to be found. That some of the resources were starting to come in. And And I panicked because I
Yeah.
never thought that Josiah would be out of food because at the point I was like, well, I can't bake because I don't have any power because if I could have baked, I could have baked all kinds of stuff for him. But I couldn't bake. We were using the camper. We have a camper that we used to go camping with. I was using the stove in it to cook on top of our grill. That's how we were fixing our meals.
Yeah.
And so like everything else was kind of like prepackaged fast, whatever you could find, sandwiches. He had no bread. We were out of bread. So
Mm-hmm.
and then plus our church at the same time was setting up as a distribution center for the local community. And we were getting shipments in from the Church of Christ Disaster Relief out of Nashville. And so then, so when I commented, said, what about Asheville? I think that's when Carla commented and said, email
Yeah.
me. So I emailed her, and immediately she got boots on the ground to get supplies here to us. It
Yeah.
took a little while to get it here
Sure.
because Amazon was shut down. We
Hmm.
weren't getting any deliveries from FedEx. The mail service was a little bit more reliable. Um, so then, stuff was starting to slowly come in. Was
Yeah.
um,
Well, I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad you mentioned something on our social media post because we've really tried to help out in these situations where we have disasters, and the struggles that we get is the logistics behind it. And especially in this case, when we contacted Boone in North Carolina, they let us know, hey, we have roads that are coming in and out. We're good.
mhm,
And we were able to have that kind of boots on the ground type of activity. So when you reached out, that let us know, hey, there's somebody else we can get to. And you're right, there were those logistic issues of getting the product there. And I
mhm.
know there continues to be some logistics in
Yes,
terms of getting the right product there. So I want to ask, so Josiah, are you a celiac?
Yes.
Okay, how long?
It was 18 months,
he
17
was
months.
he was
18 months
18
old. So
months.
all your life. So yeah.
Yeah.
All of
So
his life. He doesn't know what people say. Like my cousin has a husband who was diagnosed in his 40s, and like we'll be at family reunions, and I'm like, "Hey, Aaron, I've got gluten-free bread if you want some. I've got some for
mhm.
Josiah." Like, I know what the real stuff tastes like. I'm not eating it. So Josiah doesn't know what
Yeah,
the
I don't know what it
real
tastes like.
stuff tastes like. He
Things
doesn't
are get
remember.
things are getting better, Josiah. My son was diagnosed 11 years ago, and I've been in this industry since that time. And the stories that I heard before I even came on was the food was like cardboard that was really bad,
Mhm.
bread that had holes in it, most the size of the bread, but things are getting better. We've seen, a lot of good product development there. So hopefully will continue to look up and, you're not missing anything. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so for you, I mean, thinking about your food on a daily basis, I mean, obviously as a celiac, you're putting a lot of thought into when it comes to eating, but when it comes to the stock of food that you have at home or something like that. Was that really anything that you had thought about before this? I mean, and then when this happened, what was your feeling? I mean, you told your mom, I'm almost out of food, but what did you feel at that point in time? Obviously, you have a lot of different emotions going on. Your bedroom's flooding in the basement, and you're trying to find out. You don't know what's going on with your sister, but then you think of yourself, and what are those feelings that you had?
I'm used to going, like, for instance, I think it was Saturday or Sunday night, and I had a flashlight, and I went to the cabinet because usually before I go to bed, I'll go get a snack. And cabinet, and I usually grab a granola bar or something, bag of chips, and I went in there, and there was nothing that I could just grab and eat quickly. And I was like, oh no! So I had to. I think I fixed a bowl of cereal, and
Mhm.
and that cereal box was almost empty now. And then I told mom in the morning, I was like, I'm about out of food.
And then it hits and you're like, oh no, what happens? You reach out to us. And since that time, I know we're still trying to get food into that area, but there has been the ability to get food there. What's that look like? What have you received in at the church? I mean, what have you heard of in the area in terms of the donations getting the right people? I know it's a long way to get back on path, but what's that look like now? What in terms of
Yeah.
yeah.
So what I did when we got to the church and started getting food and different churches reaching out and food coming in, Josiah and I would look through the individual food donations and we would pull anything that was gluten free. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to set up a gluten free room because we need a space where people who need this can go and shop, quote unquote shop. So we started pulling stuff. It was a lot of peanut butter, it was a lot of soups in the beginning. Every now and then we'd find a snack or two that was gluten free, but it was rare. It
Mhm.
Very little gluten free foods were coming in. And so when we got the first shipment in, there's a local Facebook group that's for Western North Carolina, that's for celiacs or anybody who's gluten free. So I would started posting on it, and at first it was slow, slow, but now it's huge. And so like when the Char order came in, like anytime we got anything new, I would post. And we were open. We were at the church distributing stuff every day for like the first 3 weeks. And then we cut it back to 3 days a week. And then we cut it back. And then we were doing Saturdays, but now we're not doing anything. But I'm continuing to keep the gluten-free room going, as we call it there. So what I do is I open it up on Wednesday evenings before Wednesday service, and then Sunday evenings before our youth life group meets, and then just let the community come in. And a lot of people have come in and taken stuff back out into the communities that, where they know there's been some requests. We just didn't realize it. And I think a lot of people just didn't realize it. But as the word has come out, they're all like, what do you have now? What can we now?
Yeah.
And they're here in the end, what we're realizing now that, a lot of things are back open, the internet's back and reliable, supplies are able to come in. We only have one interstate, I-40 West, that's still closed. All the other interstates are open. What we're realizing is that people are in need of snack foods. Snack foods have been the biggest request because a lot of the distribution areas have, the main necessities. But we are getting low on food, I'll be honest with you, but it's worked great. And the gluten-free community, I mean, like they've reached out to me numerous times and just saying, thank you for setting this up. This has been very helpful. And I'm dedicated and committed to keep it going because I know how much it helped us as a family and him.
And that's the thing, that we wanted to keep communicating this because we know it fell out of the news cycle. It was on our news cycle. We heard about it every day for 10 days, 14 days, and then it went away. And we know that it doesn't go away for you. It's one of those things, like you said, there are people still coming to you, still looking for food. I can't imagine your stores are back to fully stocked yet, or the distribution
No.
centers, not at all, right? Right.
Mm-mm.
So it's the community being able to understand that there are people out there for them. And so from us, from an organization standpoint, the National Celiac Association, we're like, we're working with GIG. How do we get more boxes there? We're working with other organizations and other individuals or the food banks like in Boone. How do we get product to you? Because being a community-based organization, we know you're still there, and we know it's out there, and we're trying to understand that, and what can we do from a capacity standpoint, and really, how do we get our community to help us to help others in the community? And that's really our big goal, is to, there, as many people as we've helped, there are so many other people out there that still need our help. And so we need to continue to do that work. The entire community impacted by this, and again, we don't hear the stories on the news anymore. So it's great to speak with you, and also Josiah, for you to fill us in on what things are going on for people who have celiac disease there, because obviously that's another whole subsection of news that doesn't get talked about. And and I'm sure it's people with all kinds of food allergies and disabilities that are right now having to struggle to find ways they make ends meet because of all the disruption that's been there. So yeah, I think it's I'm happy that we can help. I know it's not enough, but I'm happy that we could help you, and as many other people as we can, through the donation of food and through the support of the community, to be able to reach out to all of you. So I wanted to see, is there anything that you want to share with the celiac and gluten-free community? We have, again, our outreach is to, on a national basis, we have people who come to us and say, how can we help? Is there anything that you want to let them know at this time that maybe they wouldn't see in the news, or maybe there's, you talked on it, Susanna, there might be a need for more, but is there anything else that you want to convey to them?
I would just, one, tell everybody thank you because we've been benefited from this, and for the outpouring of love. But also, don't forget about us. This is going to be years to come before we recover
Yeah.
from this. People are still living in tents. People are still, trying to figure out their homes and their land. We're still digging out, and so we're now in the recovery phase. And so, like you said, it's not in the news anymore. And so, something, and it's like I heard shortly after this happened, because people kept saying, why weren't y'all prepared? And so finally somebody said, it's like telling Florida to prepare for a blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just something you don't see every day. And so, and I know, and like, there's a lot of trauma. You know, I work with children where I work, and even the staff, and just trying to take care of everybody so that we could take care of our children. And even just recently, you know, I guess it was probably 30 days or so, we haven't had much rain since the storm, which we were thankful for because it gave us time to get out and do what we needed to do. Um, but there were some thunderstorms, and it was traumatic for a lot of people to hear that and just,
Yeah.
you know, just think. So just to know that people are still recovering from this, going to be recovering from it for a while. And, you know, and a lot of distribution sites are shutting down. And like our church, we shut our site down so that we can focus on other areas. And so what we're focusing on is the immediate monetary needs, because the monetary donations are there. And so that's what we're trying to do, is focus more on the immediate needs that people need. You know, and a lot of people have donated, like a church in Florida donated kitchen sets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would have never thought of that, but it's 50 kitchen sets. And, you know, there's like crock pots, there's small appliances, there's everything anybody would need to get a kitchen back up and going. And, you know, and another church donated beds. And I was like, this is stuff we hadn't even thought about, you know, because the food is there, the food's there. I mean, in the beginning, it was hard to find fresh food. But I mean, like, I'll never forget when my cousin, I was like, we want meat and fresh fruits and vegetables. And my mom and I were so excited to have a salad because it was like the first fresh vegetable we had in like over a week. And
I'm eating something not out of a box. That's
yes.
Nice.
So when we met her and got all that food in Johnson City, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing just to have a salad, you know? So, but yeah, just because it's not in the news doesn't mean that we're struggling. And there are a lot of people, you know, it's like the landscape of our area has changed. I don't know how many people are familiar with Asheville. I feel like the demographics are going to change because a lot of people moved out because of the water situation and just because of the lack of jobs. So I feel like, you know, everything's going to change within the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's still a community healing. And so, yeah, and I think you brought a good point there of, you know, just don't forget that there are still people in need. And whether it be the resources, whether it be donations, whether it be just general support that we can provide, yeah, it's one of those things that we understand, and as part of our, you know, like I said, our program and our mission is to continue to help individuals and families such as yourself. So we're happy that we could, and we look forward to continuing to be able to do so. So.
Right,
Josiah, did you get your snack? Did you get your snack cabinet restocked?
Yes, I have.
Well, it's almost empty.
No, we got some extra downstairs, but like for like last week, it was overflowing, and I eat a lot of food, so but I went through it pretty quickly. But we're doing good.
Yeah, he packs his lunch for school, but he like packs enough for about probably 3 people because he never knows what he needs.
Yep, I know. So. Well, I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for sharing with us everything. And again, if there's anything else, you know, we have your information. We'll stay in touch. But you know, if there's anything else that comes up, just please let us know. So.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to both of you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
You, sir.
All right. Take care. Bye.